episodes that we were looking to get more guests on the pod. And this week, it's fair to say we've got a cracker. So we've got someone with us today who you could say is Merseyside royalty. That was starting back in 1998 with over 300 appearances between the sticks for Tranmere Rovers with over a decade of service. And following his playing career, he moved into the world of coaching with a short trip across the Mersey to Liverpool in 2009, where after spells coaching Liverpool at reserves and youth levels, made the move to first team coach way back in 2011. There he'd spent 13 years working alongside managers like Rafa Benitez, Kenny Dalglish, Brendan Rodgers and Jürgen Klopp, coaching some of the best goalkeepers in the land and winning every trophy available along the way. After 15 years at the club, he made the move to Al Ettifaq alongside Steven Gerrard, where he still plies his trade. We're delighted and very grateful to have on the pod. So a big hello to John Achterberg. Hi, John, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Nice to see you all and meet you.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Yeah, really good to meet you and have you on the pod. Very, very grateful indeed that you took the time to meet us. Appreciate it a little bit later in the evening for you as well. So again, really grateful to have you on.
No problem.
Cool. So, Col, I'm going to hand over to you. You're the man with the questions. Fire away, John.
Yeah, what an introduction, John. Big thank you for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. I've got a lot of questions around coaching and goalkeeping coaching. But I think with that introduction, John, we have to start off with Tranmere. Over 300 games, many high. I remember watching a lot of them cup games as well, Giant Killer, what you were involved in, many highs and lows. Did any of them highs and lows, what your experience prepare you for coaching, really?
In my case, not really. My coaching thinking was already well before I went to Tranmere, really. It started already when I was basically in Holland. I always thought, okay, I want to be a goalkeeper, and I also put myself in my mind. And after my goalkeeping career, I want to be a goalie coach, basically. So then I started already in my batches, I think, when I was 24 in Holland. And when I was playing at Eindhoven, I was doing the academy in Eindhoven, the under 21s till the under 12s. And then I did a local amateur team. In my first year, I did all the academy up until under 18. And the year after, I did all the first team and the reserves as well. So, and then obviously, after the 2 years I was in Eindhoven, I went to Tranmere, basically. So, and then obviously start playing in Tranmere, but still doing some kind of coaching. They had Lorraine Rodgers as the chairman then. They were not overly keen that I was doing both at the same time. So my first maybe 2 years, I did a little bit making like a goalkeeping day for all goalkeepers. So we had about 90 goalies on that, I think. And I had like the Asta sponsoring for food for the kids and stuff. And then I had to stop for a few years. But when I was probably about 32, I guess I started everything, and then I make my own goalkeeping schools. I had one in Liverpool. I had one in North Wales and one in Tranmere. And then I was doing the Tranmere Academy goalkeepers basically till on the 18th. And I did my own scouting goalkeepers there because they had no budget. So and then obviously developed and did all my licenses basically. I had the outfield A license and the goalkeeping A license before I finished playing, basically.
Love that. So you already had half an hour coaching while you were playing then, John. You had that in your mind that you wanted to go into coaching.
Yeah, that was the idea to you don't know how far you get on the playing side. I was always try to set myself targets. Okay, try to play till 30, then try to play till 34, then to 37, 8, and that's how I always did. And when I was 38, basically, I got a chance to go to Liverpool, so it was easy to stop playing. And I was more player coach in the last 3-4 years at Tranmere anyway, so I was more on the bench and do all the training. So it was the right step at the right time.
Fantastic, brilliant. And then moving on to Liverpool, then, what does a typical day look like for a goalkeeping coach at a top club? Then, John, what might that look like?
Yeah, in the start, a lot different than later on, if I'm honest. When I started, it was more like I was doing the academy basically and the reserve team on my first year. So that was pretty much 6-7 days a week, really. And then when the year after, I went to the first team, so I did everything actually the first, maybe then for 3-4 years. So I was doing in the morning the first team goalies, and then in the afternoon I went to the academy till the evening, and then when I came home I was watching other goalies to try and find new goalies for the first team and stuff. So it was pretty much 7 days a week, and then obviously you just finished playing, so you still have all the energy and fitness to do everything. I actually probably till about maybe 45, 46 still in the summer joined the first team tournament training because we had 3 goalies on camp, and I was then the 4th goalie. But in the end, we took 4th goalie, so I didn't have to do that no more because you don't want to make yourself look foolish. But I was pretty much still fit that I could do quite a half decent job in that time. So
yeah, and I love that you set the goals each year just to keep going and keep going and keep going till eventually we can't. And I think thinking about goalkeeping, John, and especially in recent years, last 5, 10, 15 years, as a lot more of the mental side came into it alongside the technical as well, would you say?
I don't know. I think probably we were a lot harder in the old days, I guess. There was not too much fuss about and around the team, and they get mollycoddled a lot more now. Definitely in youth football and academies, especially in professional academies, everything gets done for them. And when we try to make a career, you have to make sure you get from A to B yourself, and you have to sort all your boots, your gear out yourself. And now everything is done for them, no. And if they had a sore toe now, they cannot train for 2 weeks. And when it was then, there was not even a mention about it. You just carried on with it. So, yeah, on that side, it's all changed. But I mean, it's all also changed in the positive. The intensity is obviously is a lot higher now, and they are more, I call them jumping athletes, the goalkeepers, and on the highest level they have to be. And so yeah, a lot changed, but all for the positive. It's obviously we had in Liverpool a few good years to watch football with the intensity, and I think we probably played some of the best football we ever saw in Liverpool history, really. And maybe for everywhere, like, because the games were crazy. It was sometimes like PlayStation football. You're watching how good it was to watch and how quick. So, but yeah, that was for everyone involved great to watch.
Yeah, and did you find that on the sidelines, John? There was probably certain games when we were playing that brand and that style of football where it was taking your breath away at times.
Yeah, it's crazy, but you can see it also to the people how much enjoyment that give everyone, really, and obviously the players even enjoyed that way of play as well, but obviously you have to be super fit and and also physical fit and strong enough to deal with the demands in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned a keeper having a stumped toe and maybe being out for 2 weeks. Who would have that final say? Would that be maybe the sports science department or physiotherapy or the manager or a combination? Who would have the
Yeah, it lays with the medical department in the end, because they obviously also get the negativity if they start too early or they're re-injured. So, but yeah, obviously managers will always ask, can he play then or not, or is he ready and stuff like that. And that's always the case. But also sometimes players, they are sometimes stronger than the medical department. So Suarez, he told them basically to go, and he just carry on, and James Milner was exactly the same. So, they, although they know it was maybe should have been longer, but they felt they could push on, and they pushed on. I mean, in my time, I was the same. If someone said I was out for 2 weeks, then I was back in 1 week, or if I was at 6 weeks, I was back in 3 weeks. I just find a way to be fit and carry on playing, and you strap your knee up or whatever, and just fight through it a bit and find a way in games, but the higher you go, the more hard it is. There's like athletic machines who cost you 20 to 100 million, so they cannot gamble and risk the injuries to reform or make it really bad. So that's a different world nowadays. So yeah, mainly it is with the medical department. If someone is injured, they decide yes or no.
Yeah, and that probably comes back to what you mentioned, the old school, doesn't it? And the love of the game. If you think of Milner and Suarez and yourself, it's that pure passion for the game and probably not wanting to miss out. That'd be fair to say, John.
Yeah, that's it really, and yeah, sometimes I think the physio read the book, so the book say this injury is 6 weeks, but some player heals quicker than other, but they would never go risk the book, if you like, because that makes them feel looking bad, and that's how I always felt. But maybe the medics thinks different like that. But for sure, there've been players they thought they could play earlier than what they were allowed to. So, but they're the experts, so you have to trust them on that side, and that is how it works in the football.
Absolutely. And I have to now ask you about Alisson. Obviously, you spent a lot of time with Alisson. When someone like Alisson comes into the club, John, who's clearly world class, how do you coach someone who's maybe already world class?
If you analyze any goalkeeper, there's always things what can be better or what can be improved, and sometimes you talk about it. Sometimes you make an exercise for it. So I'm a guy who always work on the positive side. One big thing when we signed Ali was basically, and it was probably in the first, maybe already on the first day I met him, I said, I watched a lot of games of you, and obviously from 2013 I've been watching you. I said, but one thing for sure we have to improve is your left foot kicking. And then he said, but I work with in Brazil with coach Shani, who was the old goalkeeper who scored so many goals in Brazil. And he said, I always have an outlet with my right foot. I said, that can be the way in Brazil, because the Brazil game is 5 miles an hour. And in England, it's 500 miles an hour. And the players, they run at you like crazy. And if they close you down, they run on your right foot. So you can maybe kick on your left foot, because you cannot have an extra touch. If the ball is on your left foot and they run on your right foot, you cannot take a touch on your right foot, because they take the ball off you. So obviously he realized that pretty quick, and we worked on that, and he definitely improved with that, and he found a good way with that. So, but there's always some things you talk about, and sometimes I also said, I think this, and this, and then I said also ask your brother, he's a goalie as well, and see what he thinks, to give him more confidence, and that works like that. So Ali was already good, of course, when he came, very good, and he said I definitely helped him to improve when he come to England in different things, and that's cool that he said it, but I do that with everyone I work with. I always want to do the best for them. I always want to help them individual and tell them what I think, and obviously they can use it. But I also, when I say something, I tell them why and what can be the positives from it, and then hopefully the goalie takes it on board, and it has to work for the goalie as well. So but I work with a lot of younger goalies as well, and try to improve him with different aspects. And it's not just only on the field; it's also off the field, and it's also in the gym. So it's you want to give them lessons outside football, what they have to think. They have to be fully professional and think about everything, because you have this chance to make it, and then you have to take it and try to do the best, and hopefully the lessons then help them in the future.
Absolutely. Brilliant that, John. Thank you. And I know I've watched one or two interviews, and I know you love scouting and watching football constantly. So suppose the question when it's asked there is, you mentioned Alisson coming, you'd watched him since 2013. So did you have an input into the goalkeeper signings then, John? And was there any that you maybe put forward that the club didn't act on?
When obviously Kamoli was when I started with the first team, and he gave me videotapes to look at this goalie, and then I realized, okay, he wants me to know goalies, so I will know every goalie what is around. So then I make the structure like, okay, I need to know every goalkeeper around. I need to find the best goalie we can for Liverpool. And obviously start looking games left, right, and center. And in the end, I give them names, and then obviously they say, yeah, it's possible or it's not possible. Obviously, when the first goalie I said to Kamoli was Neuer when he was at Schalke, and he said, oh, he will go to Bayern München. So, and the second one I gave was Handanovic when he was at Udinese, but then he went to Inter Milan.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, so but obviously, I cannot see the budget from the club and what they're willing to do. So I always made a list with number one goalies, number two or number three. And then I looked at all the international games from under 17, all the tournaments, and then tried to find young goalies. And the recruitment sometimes said, "Oh, have a look at this goalie." If I didn't see it, then but there was a lot of the time, most of I already saw them, and I then wrote reports. And if I liked the goalie and I thought it fits in the way we play, then I would. Then I would keep following it. If I thought, okay, he doesn't fit the way we play, then I would not watch it again. Obviously in my philosophy, the goalie had to be between 188 and 194, because we need an athletic goalkeeper who is mobile and who can play with your both feet and can play high lines. So and that was my philosophy, and I know it worked that way for Liverpool, so I stick with that really. And if someone said, okay, but this goalie is a bit taller, then I say, okay, I'll look at it. And then 90% of the time they are not mobile enough. So that was always my thinking. But obviously sometimes you have to look in the budget what the club tells you. Obviously the year we signed Simon, I had a choice between Tim Krul, Simon, and Bergovic, and I thought, okay, Simon is the best out of the three, and I still believe that he was and is in the way we wanted to play, and he did all right, of course, and I think sometimes the people were also negative to that. And then people say to me, we want the best goalie. I said, yeah, and we need a new goalie. I said, yeah. I said, I understand that also. I said, but if you have this budget, you can only look at this budget.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I always said, like, yeah, if I ask you now, give me 5 top clubs in the world, you can, in 5 seconds, you can give me 10.
Yeah.
But you cannot do that with goalkeepers, because you cannot give me even 5 in top goalies. So that's how basically how hard it is. And if you see all the big clubs, they all want the best goalie, and it's not easy. The last few years, if you look at Man United and Chelsea, how many times they chopped and changed, to try and find someone who can do the job, then you know how hard it is, but if you do your homework, you make less mistakes, I would say. But you also need a little bit knowledge about it, because you cannot just sign a goalie on stats. I think that's my opinion. I never use stats, to be honest. I always just looked and I thought, okay, this one can fit us. He moved well. This one can fit us, and for sure, when I give goalies to our club, that the club will look at stats. And in the end, it's the manager, the recruitment guys, and the owners who pay the money. They all have to agree with if it's yes or no, of course, because you just do your job from your side, and they have to all do their job from their side and make it happen and agree on it.
Yeah, and that's your level of expertise over many years. That you trust your eyes, because you're a subject matter expert, aren't you, John?
Yeah, but in the end, obviously, all the people also want to look at it and want to give the go ahead on it. So it's a whole team what works on it, and in the end, they have to say yes or no. And if it's no, then you cannot change it. Then
you move on.
Yeah, that's how it works and stuff and you just keep working and sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't come off, and that is in the club's decision with all the people who work there, and you have to respect that, because they are the people in charge.
Yeah, and I know you like working with young keepers. You mentioned one or two. When we think of Danny Ward and Gillespie and Kelleher, I know you like having them part of the setup, don't you, John? What would be the reason for that, John?
Yeah, it's the same thing. And don't forget Grabara, who is doing good at Wolfsburg and is with Poland now as well. I always had it. I did it in Tranmere. When I started, I had Tranmere never had a goalkeeper what came out of the youth system to make the first team. And I think after I started with them working and scouting, I think there was 5 goalkeepers who actually made the first team. They never played much longer, but obviously one I took to Liverpool, and that was Jamal George, and he is now playing for St. Mirren. And I scouted him when he was 9, but I always had to fight a lot of people, because they thought, oh, he's not good enough, and he's not tall enough, and also in the time at Liverpool, and because I was first team goalie coach, I could help it a lot that we kept him all the time. And for me, it was not like he needs to play in Liverpool. Our aim was, with the goalie coach in the academy, of course, as well, that we created goalkeepers who can make it to the first team or as number 2. But in the end, obviously, Danny Ward made the first team, and obviously Kelleher, you all know about it. And Grabara did it a different way. He always said to me he don't want to be number 2. So we made him a career 2 different steps, and that's what we try to do with other goalies as well. For me, my aim was always to make goalkeepers a career in football. And if that was League Two, League One, that was not my problem. I just wanted to give him a chance. So as soon as I was with the first team, I always took young goalkeepers with the first team. Martin Hansen was one of them, and after us, he had a career in Germany, Denmark, Holland. So and you know, he was Danish. So you know, and after that we had Ryan Fulton. I think he plays in Scotland now. He's at Hearts, I think, at the moment. Yeah, so every year we had the young goalies, and I always try to take the best young goalies to the first team training.
Yeah.
When I was on my own, I think I was on my own maybe till 46, 7, and then obviously I got an assistant. So, but when I was on my own, I worked always with 4 goalkeepers. 2 went to the team training, then I kept 2 working. But if it was, if we had like 3 really good young ones, then I would work with 5. And then obviously when I got an assistant, we worked a lot with 6 goalies, 3 and 3. We split it up and then swapped the sides and stuff like that. And after that, Taffarel came as well. So we had 3 goalie coaches on 6 goalies. And Taffarel came with his expertise to help as well. And yeah, we had a great goalkeeping squad, and it worked really well at that period. And it was, you know, a very enjoyable time.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how did you feel about Taffarel coming in? Did you have a part to play in that? Obviously, a Brazil legend as well. Did you feel threatened by it, John, or did you embrace it?
No, like it went like first. Klopp came. Obviously, Ali always promised, and Ali told me he always promised to work one time with Taffarel.
Yeah.
And obviously at Rome, he was there only, I think, 1 year, and he had only 1 contract. And then he came to Liverpool. Obviously, he had a bit more to say, and it wasn't a longer contract. So he spoke with Klopp, and then Klopp spoke to us, and then I said, okay, yeah, let's go and see and work it. And that's what we did. And Taffarel is an unbelievable guy and a great human being. You know, I couldn't say anything bad about this guy. And then we work the Brazilian way with what we've been doing, and we combine it. And, you know, it was not like I'm a school teacher, but because on paper I was the head of the goalkeeping. But we just were like 3 goalie coaches, and we delivered the task together, and it was not like, oh, you know, I'm the boss or he is the boss. You know, that's I'm not like that anyway. So because in the end it's about the goalies happy and the goalies doing well and improving. So and I think yeah, it worked really good.
Yeah, you felt like you were all pulling in the same direction then, yeah?
Yeah, it was clear, you know, and Ali know what he needs, and we know what he needs, and we know what we needed for the games, because you make sessions also what we need for the games. If like Man City played low balls behind the defense, we need to cut out low crosses. If it was a chance, you play a team what plays on the counter, you did 1v1 exercise. So you try to, next to the hard work, also the tactical work for preparing for the game, or they block the goalie, so we block the goalie. So you basically prepare the goalie for what will come, and the number 2, of course, and the number 3, because they both also involved.
Brilliant. And if you were a young keeper now, John, what 3 things would you maybe advise a young keeper to focus on at this moment in time? If you were given a big 3, what would be your big 3 for a young keeper?
I think looking at experienced goalkeepers, speaking to experienced goalkeepers, but also obviously be the fit as you can be, and you know, obviously making your body ready for the highest level. Because if you're a young goalkeeper, normally one physical, you're not ready in terms of fitness level, but also strength level. You know, your body needs to go. Your body needs to go with a high load and demand as well. And that sometimes you need to send goalies from 16, 17, 18 more to the gym to strengthen their body, but not like bodybuilders, but like I said, jumping athletes. So they have to basically improve all the joints, the shoulder joints, the wrist joints, the knee joints, the ankle joints, so they can deal with the loading and that they're not getting injured or break down too early. Because I think that is definitely something I saw over the years. And also, if I look back at my time, I already was also 18 or 17 when I think, well, even maybe 16 in my first year when I went to my hometown. I already did college because I was training 4 times a day, and the body obviously was not, but that you get that later with experience, that was too much and it's not ready to
Yeah.
cope with 4 sessions a day. So
Yeah.
but yeah, strength for sure, and can help that, as
Yeah.
long as you keep the speed and explosive in the body, because you want them to be explosive and quick.
Yeah.
For the modern football, you need that. So
Yeah. So you'd say speak to experienced people and concentrate on the physicality. So build yourself up. Would you give one more, John? Anything else?
yeah, also look at for the experienced goalkeepers. Listen to the goalie coach, but also help yourself by looking at footage. On YouTube, you can watch goalie training. You can watch goalkeepers playing. So you yourself learning yourself as well as other people telling you. By looking at things, you can think, oh yeah, that's good, or that could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and make your own mind up. Then have a mind for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. So I'm really convinced that if you have a good training program and they have the right profile, that you make good goalies. But in my opinion, you need to have the goalies from on the 9 up.
Yeah.
If I say in England, if they are less than 6'2", it'd be difficult. But that's why you also need to recruit on height. Um, but I'm convinced if they train 3 hours a week in the way I see it, you create goalkeepers. I did it in Tranmere.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we take it to Liverpool, we made it happen. And in Liverpool, we also bought a lot of goalies like Kelleher. He came with 15, and Grabari came with 15.
Yeah.
And then then inside 2-3 years you can create them with a good training program to a really good level as well. So I call it like brain training, because it's the same as in school. The quicker you start learning a language, the quicker you pick it up, and you're teaching the kids basically, or the goalies, to be in the right positioning. When the ball is there, you have to be there, and the ball is there, you have to be there. If the ball does this, you have to do this. And by repeating it, it's teaching the kids to recognize situation and learning situation. So that's why I also was always big on training in the goal and not outside the goal. You see people with tennis balls and beach balls and everything, but obviously on a Saturday you don't catch tennis balls or beach balls, and that is more, for me, it's more like a circus act.
Yeah.
But yeah, if a goalie is happy with it, he's happy with it. But if I would come to Ali with tennis balls and beach balls, he probably tells me to fuck off. But I know that for sure. We talked about it a lot. So he is also in the same way of thinking, and Taffarel is actually the same.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's more happy between the sticks, in front of the net, than yet with balls rather than tennis balls.
Yeah, but that's what you have to defend. So my point is, if you have 3 hours goalie training a week, or with the first team we have longer, you have to use all the expensive time to defend the goal, to know how you need to defend the goal and where you have to be in the goal. If you doing something completely outside the goal,
Yeah.
how can you positioning in the right thing in the goal in the right moment and right positions. So that is basically the point. If you work outside the goal, you just try and catch the ball, but not thinking about, oh, I need to be in this position, I need to be this position, I need to cover this whole goal and not just a small goal or whatever, you know. So that's basically a lot of the thinking with shooting from angles by closing the lines in the goal. You know, so if the ball is on the byline, your goal is not the front, but it's the side. You know, so you need to cut the ball on the side. So if the ball is on the angle, then your goal is try to stop the ball going in the angle. So your body and your feet have to face the ball more, so you can attack it that way. You know, so I'm really a lot on that and not have the goalie too deep in the goal, because then he opens the goal up. So it's really closing the angles as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then being ready for reactions.
When you watch the game as well, John, what are your thoughts? Sometimes I've seen keepers come out to narrow the angle and then they've went backwards, John, and then that opens the angle back up. Is that where they've just got their positional sense wrong and they start panicking a little bit, or?
So if you talk about 1v1 situation, I always talk, if you cannot win the ball outside the box, that's how we play at Liverpool. Obviously, Ali sweeping up outside, or Kelleher, or whoever goalkeeper we had. The first job is, if the ball goes in behind, can I clear the ball outside the box? If I cannot get there before the opponent, I have to run back as quick as I can to the 6-yard line, because I need to buy time.
Yeah.
If you're on the 6-yard line, you don't have to move no more, because the striker or the winger, he will come to you.
Yeah.
He will come to you, and he will make a decision. So if he shoots from the 18-yard line, you have a good chance to save the ball. The goal is pretty small. He won't be able to chip you on full speed from the 18-yard line when you're on the 6-yard line.
Yeah.
If he takes a touch inside the box, there's a good chance you will win the ball, and then you can jump out to win it. If not, you just let him make the decision. You know, the most goals get scored when the goalie makes the decision, or he's running forward. When the striker shoots, you cannot dive left and right, because you know, you can do that yourself. If you run forward, you cannot step and drive left or right. So if the more you're imbalanced, the easier it's to make save and react. So you need to leave the decision on the striker. If he takes a bad touch, okay, bang, I go. If he is in control, ball on his feet, I cannot win it, I need to hold my feet. If he feels under pressure, what will he do? He will shoot early. If you're on the 6-yard line, he cannot go around you, because he runs out the pitch.
Wide.
Yeah, he runs right. But if you're on 12 yards, there's a good chance he can go around you. Yeah. So that's why I say always be on the 6 yards and play from there and defend the goal. If he comes from the angle, you can close one side and say, go on, put it there, and open your body and attack the ball forward, you know. And that's a lot of technical and tactical talk. But that is the way I try to teach and say.
Makes perfect sense, and there is my answer.
Okay. Yeah, it may be a lot detailed, but I don't know if that makes sense. So it
does. Absolutely it does, John. Okay. And I suppose if you think, just before we move on to maybe Saudi, and one or two quick questions on that. If you're looking back over 15 years at Liverpool, what was your most enjoyable time, John, at Liverpool?
Yeah, obviously the Klopp period and the period we compete for every trophy, really. You know, we probably could have won and should have won more, but there was a few where in the referee's hands as well, where we didn't win it because of decisions. Of course, we all know that. But the football was amazing. Obviously, the goalies were both good. You know, Ali is, in my opinion, the best in the world. For definitely in that period. Before Ali, it was Neuer for a long time. Actually, Courtois is also, in his way of play, a really good goalie. But Ali fits the way we want to play, and Kelleher obviously showed all the time when Ali was not there that he can do amazing well the way we play as well. So it made my job a lot easier, and I felt a lot less pressured, you know. And actually Jaros improved a lot over the last years as well, and obviously he went on loan now to Ajax, so he will make a good career as well.
Yeah, fantastic, John. And before I hand over to you, if any of the lads have got any questions, what's next for John then, and what excites you about Saudi, and can you see yourself returning back to the UK in the future, John?
It's hard to say. I obviously enjoy working with the goalies here. When obviously Steve, he gave me the chance to come here, and yeah, I'm still thankful for that to join him. And I had a great time with him. Obviously, it was not long enough because he decided to leave. But it was fun. Obviously, I made the whole new goalie department. I signed Rodek from Fulham, and yeah, he is doing really well. The team is not so good. We haven't got much money, but he has the highest shot to save ratio. So I'm happy the way he does, but he's actually good enough to be back in the Premier League as well with one of the clubs as a number one or number two, in the low. He had offer for Burnley last year as well to go there as number one, but he decided to stay. Obviously, the money probably was a lot better there than maybe in England for him. But yeah, I'm open to everything really, to be honest. If anything good comes up, I definitely look at it and then decide what happens. I enjoy every day still and kicking balls and running around. So, but the main thing is that you see and have fun that the goalie is still improving and you try to help. In Saudi, I do the same. I bring Andy Furt as my assistant here. And, we work with the same kind of thinking. So we have 2 senior ones, and then we have 3 to 4 young goalies. So the youngest one training with us so is 15. And then we have 1 16 and 1 18. And then we have 1 21 and 1 22. And then 2 senior ones, obviously Rodek and number 2 Saudi goalie is actually only 24 as well. So on that side, it's on a good line, if you like. But I'm open to also anything good or new, and if it's fun to do, I definitely look at it. I enjoy my job, so I have no plans. But if anything happens, if that's in the Premier League, you can always look at it. But it's not always easy.
Yeah.
If you've been at Liverpool 15 years,
it's hard to go anywhere else, isn't it, John? Yeah.
It's adapting. It's a lot adapting because everything. It's one of the best, if not the best club in the world, and there's only like 5 or 6 like that. Madrid, Barcelona. Us, Bayern, PSG is a bit both together, and then you have a few good clubs in England. But I enjoy working in any club, to be honest. If I didn't go to Liverpool, I might have started at Tranmere full-time goalie coach, and whatever happened, it's hard to read. But one thing I can say is that my philosophy was already in Tranmere the same as when I went to Liverpool. I want to create all-round goalkeepers who can play left foot, right foot, who can defend the whole goal and can play high lines and on the front foot. And I was a goalie myself like that. And if you are creating goalies like that, then they can play in any team. They can play in a team what plays with 11 around the box, but they can also play in a team who plays on the halfway line, and that is my thinking really. But if you only teach them to defend the goal, then they can play for a defensive team but not play for an attacking team, and that is actually what you try to do, and that's more fun.
Well, I think you've done a blooming good job, to be honest. Anyway, especially Liverpool and all the trophies. But from me, as a fan, a massive thank you. But doing the podcast as well, I'll see if the lads have got any questions. But yeah, just unbelievably appreciative that you jumped on and jumped on a fairly short notice. And yeah, just a massive thank you. And we'll keep an eye on what happens overseas as well, John. But big thank you. And
no problem.
Lads, have you got any questions for John, really?
I'll jump in first, Colin, if that's okay. I think the first one, I was telling my brother that we had you on the pod this week, John. First thing he said to me was, ask him if he can come back to Liverpool because the goalies have been shite since you left. So he wants you back at Liverpool because, trying to make a difference to the current goalies. But similarly to what Cole said, with some of the memories, and I was looking back at some of the photos, like there's the European Cup one where you with Ali and Simon and Kelleher with the European Cup. But I think obviously we all know one of the overriding ones is Ali's goal at West Brom. And watching some of the videos back, you just see you wheeling off with your clipboard in an absolute, in aesthetics and statics about it. And I think the famous story was, you were telling them to get up. Is that actually true?
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, but it was obviously we were struggling the whole year, and obviously I think we go like 5 points behind if we not win the game, and that would kill the team mentally also. Then knowing that you have to go to Burnley, where we never did perfect in the history. And so it was obviously 1-1. We had a lot of chances, and then obviously Mike Dean put up 4 minutes, and it was 3 minutes 50, and we get a corner, and I thought we need to win this game. If we don't win this game, that was the feeling, like it could be done now, because less than 5 points with 3 games left, it's hard to get back. So. And then obviously that happened, and I shouted, Ali, get in the effing box. And then obviously the rest is history. But obviously all the credit goes to him, because he had the ball like he did, and he deserved all the credit for sure. And that's just a moment. But as a goalie coach, you try to create a goalkeeping team who work good together and work hard together and push them. And I definitely think we push the goalkeepers always. I think we had that was my opinion, the best goalie squad probably in Liverpool history, with the number 1 and 2 are crazy good. If you saw them in training, it's unreal, the speed reactions, that was just nice to watch. And with the club area was obviously nice. But when you goalie coach, you feel also pressure, every game is pressure if you play, and that's why the celebrations come a little bit. But I also had too much passion. I think I was also fighting sometimes with the referee but if you look back, sometimes also it helped us, like Arteta always was crazy on the sideline to the referee and stuff, and then one moment he did something again, and then we all smashed him basically verbally, and the whole crowd exploded. And I think in 15 minutes it was 4-0 or something like that. We smashed them. This kind of things happened also. And we had really, Klopp was also like passionate, and Pete was passionate, and Pep, and we were really passionate now, but we also fighting for the win. You remember Newcastle, they played like Atletico, tried to fake injuries and kill the game from the first 5 minutes, Pope laying down on the floor, taking 5 minutes throw-ins, and then we scored in the last second, Carvalho, the winning goal, and we had already a fight with them, and it exploded. Obviously, I got a red card after the game for it, but I don't care if that makes you win and have enjoyable moments. It's great to think back, but I'm probably a little bit calmer now. Also because it's different here. There's so, but it also depends if I have a caffeine shot, because I'm more fired up if I had a caffeine shot.
Yeah,
They they told me to stop taking them because I couldn't stay calm sometimes.
I was at that Newcastle game, John, and I remember it. And the whole place erupted when Carvalho got that. And as you say, it was like 95 minutes, the latest one. Yeah, it was fantastic. So great stuff. Thanks, John. Kurt, and you wanna fire towards John?
Yeah, I had one. You were talking about all the players you looked at, and the club would give you tape, and you've been around for ages, looking at tons of players. Who was the best or most complete goalie you've ever looked at, even if you never coached them directly?
I named them already, with Neuer and Ali.
Yeah.
And actually Kelleher, he is crazy good, but I think if you're Man United and you have the goalies they had, although they have now a half decent goalie, I think this Belgium goalie Lem is doing well for them, and he hopefully for them he can be more consistent. But if you see Kelleher week in week out, and then at Chelsea or at United you have been sleeping, and that's my opinion, because he can play in any team as well, I think them three are crazy good, and what I learned is definitely that as a goalie you also have to be calm in your mind. And if you see Ali always doesn't face him, if something goes wrong, he stay calm, he keep doing the same things because he knows the process, and he trusts his movements, and he trusts what he can do, and Kelleher learns that also from him, I would say, although Kelleher is also calm from himself. So that's what I definitely learned from that. And I thought in the times I watched goalies, but if you look at Han Donovic, he was also really a long time steady on the highest level. So they are the goalies. One time we were looking at Neto, but that was more to compete. He had a half decent career, but never really settled a lot as the number one. He was obviously at Bournemouth 1 or 2 years, but he was at Barcelona, Juventus, and I wanted to sign him when he was at Fiorentina, but we were too late. But because I had to look for transfer-free goalkeepers as well, because obviously the club only wanted to invest as for number one. To buy, and the number two always had to be free. So if we had to bring someone in to compete, it had to be no money spent really. So I always looked at 2 years ahead who was going to be out of contract, could he fit us and things like that. That's what I used to do.
Fab, great stuff. Thanks, John. Ian, and you want to put towards John?
No, just a couple of names. You mentioned Andy Firth. He actually was on loan at the club I support, Witton Albion, about 10, 15 years ago. Great keeper. And then about 3 years ago, I watched him play for Connors Quay in Wales. So obviously he seems like a decent bloke. Obviously he was at Rangers for a good while, wasn't he, as well? So it's just that I've not heard his name mentioned for a while. I was at the Rangers St Mirren game the other day, and Shamal was in goal then. Obviously he'd done really well. So it's good to see all the players you've worked with, mate. So thanks for coming on. I was going to ask you, Cole sort of stole my thunder really about. I manage a Sunday league team in the very lowest division possible. So there's a job here for you, mate. We can pay you in beer any time. But I was going to ask you some advice for our 18-year-old keeper, because he's gone from youth to playing with lads his own age up to playing with lads sometimes double his age. His name's Joe. I'm sure you won't mind me name dropping him, but give me advice from going from youth football to adult football, really.
Yeah, but I think that that is a big problem, no, and that's why we sent Andy also to Witton Albion, and I always thought, okay, physical, he'd be all right, he will make mistakes. They definitely all make mistakes when they start senior football, because they have to learn more about the physicality. The body is not perfectly growing, but you need to let them. You need to give them confidence, and you need to let them adapt to the speed of the game. Again, the aggression in the game, and obviously the goalie himself. if you're in an amateur level, it's a lot harder. But what could help if you do strength training yourself in a gym, you know, to physical, be stronger, so you can deal with the aggression in the game and stuff. And then the other thing is, I think, you always have to stay calm with them and give them a chance on the right moment. You know, let them play first in friendly games, you know, in the preseason, you know, let them feel it and stuff. And then you maybe play in a cup game where you think, okay, we should beat them, even if he is, if he makes one mistake or not, you know, and then put him in. And that's how you try to build. And that's how you also have to think. I mean, in the preseason, we, you know, with Klopp, we always put Kelleher and Grabara. We played Kelleher and Grabara against Man United for 100,000 people in Michigan, you know, and they both did well, like, and both play 45, and that's how they get experience, and you know, and that's how you develop them, you know. Obviously, the goalies know when they get the chance also they have to produce, because there was also, like, for instance, Martin Hansen, he was pretty good technical and he can play with his feet, but then on the we put him in. I remember that, but Kenny was the manager, and it was I think it was Bangkok, and it was maybe 1-1, and he conceded like 2 goals in 5 minutes, and he played only 15. Yeah, then you can lose the credibility very quick as well, you know. But it's all about also finding the right time, but also trusting him and give him confidence, you know, and know that if he plays, he will make a mistake, because there's no goalie without mistakes. Obviously, the less you will make, the better you will be. I tell them also in training this kind of things. But you know, you need to give him the chance and let them feel like, okay, it's also how he can deal with it mentally. If he thinks it's the end of the world, he will make the second one, and that become then a problem. Because if he makes one mistake and the rest of the game he keeps playing well and keeps doing the things, that's what you want. But if this goalie cannot cope with that, then it's probably the moment to take him out, and then you have to try it one time more. But if he keeps losing his head by making one mistake, then obviously he cannot cope, and then it'd be harder for him to make a good next level career, I would say.
Yeah, no, he's a good young keeper. We were winning a game the other day, 9-1, and the opposition got a penalty, and they scored the penalty, and one of their players was giving my keeper shit, basically. And he basically told him to fuck off. We were winning 9-2, so I love that about him. He showed a bit of aggression.
Oh, that's good, no?
Yeah. It was about 2 minutes to go, and the guy was in his face telling him, "I'm like, fucking 9-2, you dickhead, fuck off." Yeah. So it was. I like that about him. So
he's
got something about him, mate. So, but no, cheers for the advice.
Okay,
I'll share this with the lads. So thank you.
No problem.
Well, John, that brings our guest appearance to an end. But what an absolute unbelievable guest you've been, John. Honestly, that's been brilliant, Dan. I think when I messaged you, I asked you, could you come on 15, 20 minutes? You've done an hour with us. So honestly, we're made up with that tonight, John. Blown away by it. And I say just a massive, massive thank you. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Keep supporting the Reds, and hopefully we can improve.
Absolutely, John. All the very best.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, John. Take care.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.